Hi there. My name is Masi, and it's April 8th, and I'm reading the Martha's Vineyard Times. The first story is titled CEO Search on Pause at MV Community Services. It's written by Iunki Seonwoo, dated April 7th, 2026. The search for a new chief executive officer at Martha's Vineyard Community Services, that's MVCS, is on pause as the nonprofit evaluates its direction for the future. The MVCS board received the resignation of CEO Dean Teague on March 30th, just over a year after he joined to lead the organization. The reason for Teague's resignation remains unclear, and Scott Turton, MVCS's chief administrative officer, who is now acting interim CEO, said MVCS does not comment on internal personnel issues. Teague was not immediately available for comment. I wish nothing for the best for Dean in his next chapter, Turton said. Turton said he offered to be the interim CEO for the coming year, and the board has graciously accepted this offer. We will work together for the good of the organization of the coming year and evaluate our future direction along the way, Turton said. With this transitional evaluation period, Turton said, basically any CEO search is on hold at this time, but he doesn't expect any interruption to the nonprofit's operations. This is an incredibly strong and resilient organization, and all of our staff look forward to continuing our programs and services without skipping a beat, Turton said. Turton highlighted that as Chief Administrative Officer, he's been a driver of MVCS's strategy and helped professionalize and expand our operations together with our strong leadership team. Turton is also no stranger to being interim CEO, a role he took on when former CEO Elizabeth Folcarelli retired in 2024. MVCS is a nonprofit organization that offers a wide range of services for islanders, including a family support center for those with disabilities, crisis counseling for victims of domestic and sexual violence, and a support group for combat veterans. The recent CEO turnover isn't the only leadership change at the organization. The director of operations at Chicken Alley, the thrift store run by MVCS in Vineyard Haven, recently changed from Jessica Tartell to Lisa Belcastro, with Emily Mercier as assistant director of operations. Belcastro was previously the director of the winter shelter at Harbor Homes, a position she resigned from in February. Turton said the leadership changes at Chicken Alley are in no way connected to Teague's resignation. As MVCS continues to explore its future, Turton has not ruled out applying to the CEO position in a permanent role. I am ready to serve the organization in any capacity that works best for the organization and the board, Turton said. As we move through this coming year, the board will develop its strategy, and I will enter into discussions with them on what might work best for the organization. The next story is titled The Treasures Inside the MV Museum. It's doesn't have a specific author. It's by the Martha's Vineyard Times. April 6th is the date. The island's rich history, as told by vineyarders themselves, was on full display in a recent Emmy-nominated PBS television series called Treasures Inside the Museum. The episode, which was a part of the 7th season of the series, featured the Martha's Vineyard Museum and was filmed on its campus in Vineyard Haven. It is now available to stream online. We are honored to be included in a series that highlights the vital role regional museums play in preserving and sharing local history, said Heather Seeger, executive director of the Martha's Vineyard Museum, in a press release. This episode offers viewers a deeper understanding of the objects, research, and people who help keep these stories alive. The series as a whole is a deep dive into the historical significance of objects and stories and the way remnants of the past shape the reality of today. The Martha's Vineyard Museum episode focused on the significance of maritime heritage on island life through interviews with local experts. One of the artifacts highlighted was the first order Fresnel lens from the Gay Head Lighthouse, which is displayed at the museum, where more than 1,000 individual colored glass prisms catch the light from the surrounding windows. Chief curator at the MV Museum, Bonnie Stacy, said in the episode that the lens is a rare reminder of the engineering of the 19th century. Boating and maritime tradition were highlighted by the research librarian at the museum, Bo Van Riper, who discussed a mutiny that occurred on a whale ship called the Globe. The museum has a wealth of knowledge on the topic, which is now regarded as one of the most dramatic events in American whaling history, according to the release. Island boat builder Nat Benjamin, one of the founders of Gannon and Benjamin Boatyard in Vineyard Haven, discussed a catboat that was donated to the museum. Chris Murphy, captain of the vessel named Vanity, was also interviewed. A PBS narrator called the catboat, which was built in 1929, a living history of the deeply ocean-oriented vineyard life and the sailors and boat builders who have made their impact here. Anna Barber, the curator of exhibitions, carefully flipped through 19th century whaling logbooks, which included artistic renderings of the whalers. A painting of right whales stuck out to Barber as a possible show of empathy through the strokes of a paintbrush and the violent hunting activity. It feels like in so many ways, to be a good whaler, you have to sort of distance yourself from these creatures, Barbara said in the episode. This drawing has always made me stop to think about really what this person who's creating this art, for no reason other than to create it, what they're really thinking about these whales. The show's 7th season debuted on March 15th and was produced by Ocean State Video and Weather Wave Communications. The next story is titled Sale of the Governor Back on the Table. It's written by Yoonki Seonwoo, dated April 7th, 2026. After conducting an analysis of several of its vessels, the Steamship Authority, SSA, returned to port community representatives Tuesday with the same conclusion from weeks ago: sell the Governor, the oldest vessel in the fleet. But a vote wasn't made on Tuesday morning. The Port Council, an advisory group of the SSA board, wanted to first hear what the board members had to say at their next meeting, which is scheduled for April 21 in New Bedford. The board makes final decisions on major changes at the ferry line. Some Port Council members expressed a desire to find a buyer that would preserve the Governor in some way, rather than have it scrapped or even keep it in an emergency capacity. For what it could offer us in emergency situations, I think that should be considered as part of this as well, Greg Egan, Barnstable Port Council member, said, highlighting that Governor is still able to sail and pass inspections despite its age and old technology. The potential sale of Governor was first raised at the Port Council meeting in March. Ferry officials highlighted that the freight ferry is over 70 years old and uses antiquated technology, but a decision was delayed. Instead, an evaluation of the Governor and 2 other aging vessels, the freight ferry Sankaty and the passenger ferry Nantucket, was done. Alex Krisky, SSA General Manager, said he recognized that many people are attached to each vessel, but as the new guy, who hasn't even ridden on any of them yet, he could be the cold-hearted killer to make a decision. But he underscored It ultimately came down to the decisions of the council and the board. If it were me, I'd keep all three of them, Kriska said. I'm a sucker for boats, but we have to be cognizant of our finances. Mark Amundsen, SSA Chief Operating Officer, said this discussion was also taking place now because the Monomoy, a freight ferrier being refurbished, would reduce how much the spare vessels, like the Governor and the Sankaty, are used. A presentation by the ferry line showed that each boat costs hundreds of thousands of dollars annually to keep, even before dry docking for repairs. Among the three vessels evaluated, only the Nantucket operated with a full schedule and cost $690,024. The Sankaty was used for around 219 days in 2025 and cost $558,744. The Governor, which was used for only around 90 days in 2025 and needs to be docked in a rented slip during the winter, cost $582,696, including the roughly $30,000 a month it costs to berth the vessel. The Nantucket and the Sankaty are also not long for this world, unfortunately, Kriska said, although further analysis of those two vessels will be a part of the fleet replacement program that's being developed. While Nantucket and the Sankaty were deemed to have several more years of sailing remaining, the Governor was determined to be well beyond its useful life, with obsolete systems like the steering gear that may even require parts to be manufactured to replace. It came down between the two freight ferries. The Sankaty was viewed as a safer bet to keep than the Governor. Unlike the Governor, the Sankaty can sail on both the Vineyard and Nantucket routes, can carry more trucks, and is more resilient to rough weather. Joe Salido, Oak Bluff's Port Council member, said islanders he spoke with were very sad that the Governor is likely going away, highlighting it as a popular, fast boat. It is a favorite on the Vineyard, for sentimental reasons too, Salido said. But the boat won't be leaving too soon, even if the SSA board votes to sell the Governor. Kriska said the process of selling and disposing of the ferry likely won't be completed until at least the fall. Okay, the next story, moving on to sports. Vineyard Baseball beats Nantucket in home opener, written by Nicholas Fakota, dated April 6th. The Martha's Vineyard Regional High School, that's MVRHS, spring sports season launched into full swing on Saturday with a full day of inter-island rivalry games against the Nantucket Whalers. The varsity baseball team's game was the highlight of the day. The boys defeated the Whalers 8-4 in their home opener. Head coach Patrick Moore said he was pleased with the team's opening game, despite some early season kinks they needed to work out. It's awesome, said Moore of the rivalry win. It's fun watching the guys gear up for it because I know it means a lot to them. It always feels a little bit better to knock those guys down. Senior captain and right-handed pitcher Eli Bryant, number 5, started on the mound for the Vineyarders, delivering 4 straight shutout innings and striking out 5 of the Whalers' batters. Bryant's pitching generated grounders that the Vineyarders fielded with discipline to keep Nantucket off the scoreboard early. The Vineyards' offense came alive early, too, stacking 8 runs in the first 2 innings for a strong lead. After the Vineyarders scored only a run in the first inning, junior Pete Williamson, number 6, opened up the second inning with a ground ball back up the middle. The Vineyarders loaded the bases, and junior Leo Napier, number 11, drove in a run with a pop fly that the Whalers infielders lost sight of in the sunlight. A walk brought in another run before senior captain Lathrop Keene, number 1, ripped a bases-loaded grounder that got through the infield for 2 more runs. The Vineyarders batted through their lineup And then, when Williamson was up again, he pulled a hit to left field this time to drive in 2 more runs before Nantucket switched pitchers and closed out the second inning. The Vineyarders kept Nantucket scoring low throughout the next few innings. Williamson relieved Bryant in the 5th. Williamson got the Vineyarders out of the 5th inning and struck a batter out in the 6th before senior Chris Cardoza took the mound to close. The Whalers were able to get 4 runs in later innings. It was the Vineyarders' Keene who made the final play, catching a high fly in center field and firing it to first base before Nantucket's runner made it back for a double play to close out the win 8-4. Moore said it was a team effort, but the team's pitching gave them the space they needed to win. Williamson, who was playing in his first varsity game ever, was a key player, going 3 for 3 at bat and gaining valuable pitching experience on the mound. Eli Bryant gave us a good start. Peter Williamson came in, new to varsity this year. It was good to give him some game experience. He came in and did it all right. Then Chris Cardoza came in and shut it out for us, said Moore. Williamson, man, he had a great game for us. The Vineyarders, 1-0, traveled to Falmouth on Wednesday for a 4 p.m. opening pitch at the Guy Fuller Field. Keene, one of the Vineyard's top pitchers, is expected to start on the mound. Falmouth defeated the Vineyarders twice in 3 meetings last season. Falmouth is always a good matchup for us. That's a tough team, said Moore. One of the things that we talk about with the guys when we go out and face a team like that is toughness. You're just going to have to be ready to compete, and you can't waver in the big moments. Team captain Bryant, who is committed to Endicott College for baseball, said the team has trained together a lot in the off-season, and it's showing in their improved performance. I think we look pretty good, Bryant said. Our hitting is way better than it was last year at this time. Our fielding is way better, and pitching looks good. I think overall we could have a really good season if we keep on track. Keene, a team member committed to Roger Williams University, said they need to focus on consistency moving forward. We have to come out strong every game, every single inning, said Keene. Errors were probably our biggest problem today. Moore said the goal this season is to qualify for the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association state playoffs and win the league. We have a lot of new faces up here this year, but we're excited about this group for sure. We're kind of going through the early season, struggling with just some growing pains, but this team is good, said Moore. They respond well to adversity, and they respond well to coaching, so we have a lot to look forward to. Elsewhere on Saturday, boys varsity tennis defeated Nantucket 3-2 at home. Boys varsity lacrosse lost to Nantucket 4-11 at home. Girls varsity tennis swept Nantucket 5-0 at Nantucket. Girls varsity lacrosse lost to Nantucket 1-15 at Nantucket. And varsity softball lost to Nantucket 6-15 at Nantucket. Moving on to other stories, there's one titled Protected Marine Area Officially Open to Fishing by Haley Duffy, and it's dated April 3rd. The Northeast Canyons and Seamounts Marine National Monument is now officially open to commercial fishing. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's, that's NOAA, National Marine Fisheries Service, announced in a press release Friday that the agency rescinded the regulation that protected 4,913 square miles of ocean in the name of conservation. The decision is a result of a proclamation issued February 6th by President Donald Trump that declared a rollback of protections first put in place by former President Barack Obama in September 2016. This was reversed by Trump once before in 2020, then flipped back again by former President Joe Biden. It was previously unclear when the restrictions would officially be lifted. Even island fishermen weren't sure whether or not the rollback was immediate. We look forward to fulfilling the President's vision of making the U.S. the world's dominant seafood leader, and we are committed to implementing the direction he has provided in the executive actions, Rachel Hager, Public Affairs Team Lead for NOAA Fisheries, said in an email to the Times in February. She didn't clarify when the area would be reopened. It's official now, however. The Friday press release stated NOAA Fisheries is proud to support the Trump administration's decisions pledged to restore U.S. seafood competitiveness and increase economic opportunities for U.S. fishermen. Restoring fishing in the Northeast Monument sends a signal that our fishermen are valued in the U.S., Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick said in the release. But on the island, there aren't many vessels that travel out that far to harvest anymore. The Northeast Canyons and Seamounts are an area the size of Connecticut, about 130 miles southeast of Cape Cod. It is the only marine national monument, a protected area in the Atlantic Ocean, and is home to at least 54 species of deep-sea corals and other fauna that live at depths of 3,900 meters and promote a vibrant deep-sea ecosystem for fish and invertebrate species, a webpage by NOAA Fisheries reads. The Northeast Monument provides grounds for migratory species such as tuna, sharks, and some whale species to feed. At the end of February, the New England Aquarium spotted an endangered blue whale at the base of Lydonia Canyon. It is also home to many desirable fishery resources, such as Atlantic deep-sea red crab, squid, Atlantic mackerel, and Atlantic tunas and swordfish, the press release from NOAA Fisheries said. Next is an article titled No Clear Answers from Candidates on Override. It's written by Unki Sionwu. April 6th is the date. A sky-high budget pushing West Tisbury to request it be allowed to collect more in property taxes and fill a $3.49 million gap was top of mind for voters when they gathered to meet candidates at the local library last week. The League of Women Voters of Martha's Vineyard opened its first candidate forum this year at the West Tisbury Library on Tuesday, April 7th, and voters heard from candidates running for office in West Tisbury, like longtime town clerk Tara J. Whiting-Wells. The sole contested seat on the town's ballot this year is a select board position up for re-election, which is being pursued by incumbent Jessica Miller and political newcomer Garrison Vieira, who cemented a friendly rivalry in the race with a handshake. Miller and Vieira have extensive personal histories in West Tisbury and grew up in the town. Miller returned to the island after earning a bachelor's degree in geology at Amherst College. She was also a member of the West Tisbury Board of Health. She was first elected to the board in 2022 for a one-year term after Kent Healy died in 2021. Miller highlighted several changes in the town she's had a hand in, like the creation of a new information technology manager position and a push for the town to adopt a residential tax exemption, which reduces the property tax burden for year-round residents. She's also been involved with the Affordable Housing Committee for a 401 State Road housing project. Miller said there were still some tasks she wanted to wrap up, such as helping in the search for a new town administrator after Jennifer Rand retires. She also called for an island-wide moratorium on developments to figure out what direction the Vineyard community wanted to go. Miller said this will be her third and final time running for the select board. This is a lot of work, and I really care about what I'm doing, Miller said. It's not just my time, it's also my heart and soul that feel the toll of this service. Vieira currently serves as a Kilmark police sergeant, but he served in the West Tisbury Police Department for more than 20 years. Vieira said he's also had a long-time relationship with the Agricultural Society, where he started as a security kid in 1994 at the Grange Hall. He's been involved with the Society's board for the past 8 years. A part of his involvement with the island's agricultural community comes from his time as a beekeeper. He also highlighted other ways he's been involved in the West Tisbury community, including serving on the town's Climate Advisory Committee and being an EMT with Tri-Town Ambulance for around a decade. Vieira said he wants to improve transparency in West Tisbury government and work to help fill the gap in workforce housing. He also highlighted that the town has significant projects ahead, like the HVAC system replacement at West Tisbury Police Station and the replacement of Martha's Vineyard Regional High School, and wanted to be careful with budgetary increases. I know that a lot of people in town are on set incomes, Vieira said. Miller and Vieira shared similar views on some topics raised during the forum, such as that the Select Board should be proactive in dealing with problems and need to meet residents where they usually are to hear feedback, like at Kronig's Up Island Market or Cornroy Apothecary, an issue that they agreed needed to be addressed but didn't have clear answers for was the town budget. West Tisbury is proposing to override a state limit on how much it can collect on property taxes to fill a $3.49 million gap on a $31.6 million budget. Other towns across the state are also facing similar situations. An informational board at the library highlighted how difficult it would be to reduce the budget. While there is a $2.72 million that the town can control, according to the town, that represents only 7% of the budget. Meanwhile, 30% of the budget was categorized as hard to change, such as legal services and the town's payroll. But more than half of the budget, 63%, is outside of the town's control, including $19.5 million in school costs and regional expenses at the commission and county. Miller said that the town was facing crazy numbers and highlighted that she wants to pursue consolidation of certain positions and services with other towns to save costs. She highlighted the town's population growth over the years and said that the costs of services have grown to meet demand. It's also one of the reasons she pushed for a residential tax exemption. It can't keep growing like this. It's crushing us, Miller said. Vieira said the tax bill was a concern for the entire town and ways to cut costs needed to be found. He suggested going back to the department heads to see where money could be saved, a point Miller disagreed with. She cautioned against micromanagement, but he underscored that certifications have also changed over time, particularly for personnel in police and fire departments, and incur a cost for towns. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take money out of our wallets to meet those minimum standards, Vieira said. In closing remarks, both candidates underscored they deeply care for West Tisbury and each would be a good choice for the town. Vieira highlighted that his police experience gives him the tools to deal with tasks that come before the Select Board. As a police officer, we deal with constant challenges and have to navigate some solutions. Miller called attention to her experience serving the town on the Select Board and Health Board. I'm not interested in being a lifer like some people in the room, but we've been in tricky waters the past 3 years, and we've got some big transitions coming. West Tisbury will hold its town election April 16th at the West Tisbury Public Safety Building from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's all we have time for this day. This is Marcy saying goodbye. Thank you.